you, darling? Yep, first one. Oh, you can just barely see it right there. I'll move it down. No. Yeah, there you see it. Mm. Hey, Vincy Lou Who, how are you? Hey, Ori Neener Beaner. The cover photo wouldn't download right. Jackie was the first one, but I know what Jackie was doing. She was playing Where's Waldo. In my playroom. Taser's fine. I'll just copy and paste that, but the picture didn't download it. I mean, it's on my computer somewhere. I just don't know where. Now tomorrow night's picture did just fine. No problems there, but I don't know where my. Remember, I moved him down, so. I gotta clean off my shelf over here so I can get those books over there. I think about getting another bookshelf down here so that I can add me some more books to it. You're so silly, Jackie. Does anybody talk to Karen today? I did earlier today, but she's still. I think hey Julie. I think Karen's just exhausted from house hunting. I talked to her for a little while today, but not long. Vince, is the music okay? I don't think it's too loud. Okay, y'all about ready? Where's Miss Shirley? She's in my A tonight. All right, here we go. That just got loud. Get a tequila. Oh shit. Okay. So. Prologue. Thank you, Nancy. Kimberly. Upon my investigation, let's see. Okay. Upon my investigation, I noticed that a few clients and employees were trying to exchange encrypted emails. These emails had information on whom within the company was in talks with, when and where each interview would have been, and who they were with. I stopped talking as the group of men in front of me mumbled. This is the part of my job I hate. I have just exposed two employees that have stolen insider secrets and sold them to competitors. Not only did the corporate espionage take place on company time and right under the owner's noses, those employees that are about to be exposed will. What did I miss? I missed a word. Those employees that are about to be exposed will be the bombshell for this stunning week of degrading remarks and sexual advances. Ms. Jones, we know about the insider trading. That is why we hired you to provide us with the link. Now tell me, did you do your job? Or are you just another pair of tits and legs that thinks she can handle a man's job? The old gentleman states and looks down at his nails. He is the one I am the most excited to see his reaction because he is the one the human resources is making a case against to present to the board and have him removed. That's the great thing about not owning the total shares of your company. When you act like an entitled asshole, you get removed by the board. Hey, Nathan. There are two employees trading secrets and both hold high ranking positions within the company. Mr. Vance, I turned to look at the man that hired me. He is a middle aged man who earned his way to the top while his wife worked hard at the local school board. He and his wife don't get along with most of the employees here, but he earned the spot of senior vice president by his hard work and fantastic work ethic. Well, you shouldn't have been an entitled asshole. You were correct in the original assessment. There is so much more to the situation than you truly know. I am sorry to say the acquisition of this employment may have already started without your knowledge. I look at Mr. Vance and nod. Jared Vance is my second cousin and one of my closest family members and best friends. Just keep talking and moving. Your tits bounce with every step you take. The third and final man in the room barks, his eyes never leaving the swell of my chest. I slowly walk over and stand beside him, placing the point of my heel on the top of his expensive Italian loafers. Then lean forward, putting all my 200 pounds on the one foot, placing my hand onto his that is resting on the table, then calmly state, if a man ever spoke to me like that in public, I would have his balls in my purse and his dick shoved up his nose. Remember, you hired me, and I have zero qualms marching out that door and watching this shithole go up in flames. I remove my foot and go back to the other end of the table. Now, as you know, there are two major players in insider trading, and both of them hold top ranks within the company. First, I open the manila folder in front of me and pull out the image I had captured. Jackson Pruitt, Senior Human Resources Manager and son to the Chief Financial Officer, Rowan Pruitt. I look up at the man I just had a serious conversation with and watch as his face blanches and his mouth gapes open like a fish in water. My son? I nod and pull out the proof. These are emails between Jackson and the acquisitions manager at Hark Holdings. They say that your company will be sold off piece by piece, and as each piece is sold, Jackson stands to bank $250,000. And they have it broken down into about 50 pieces. He has a meeting set up in 3 weeks to seal the deal, and then he plans on leaving for Bora Bora. His emails are all in the envelope behind his image. I point to the picture and nod as Mr. Vance grabs the image and shoots a look that screams, I told you it was him. The ultimate player in this is Jana Parkson, Senior Director in the Acquisitions Department here at Parkinson and Pruitt Holdings, daughter to Jason Parkson, Chief Executive Officer and co-owner of this company. I know the images and documentation at the older man who slowly I throw the images and documentation at the older man who slowly leans forward and picks up the package. Jana was Janice was Jana was the hardest one to pinpoint, but also the one that would close this company and burn it to the ground in debt. She has the company all but sold to a North Korean investor and plans on moving quietly within the next day or so. I have informed the authorities and they are here and have her under arrest. They are searching her office for more information. I watch as both men jump up and run from the boardroom. Kimberly, I thank you enough. I can't thank you enough for what you just did. I knew it was them, but every time I mentioned it to those two, I got told to mind my own business or find a new job. Joke's on them. Today is my last day, and I hope that you will come out to drinks with Karina and our friends. We want to celebrate, and you need to kick off your heels and let loose. Jared smiled sincerity with it written all over his face. And I knew I had a night of friendly conversation, food, drinks, and dancing. You're on. I need to let loose. You give me the place and time, I will meet you there after I shower the junk off my body. Jared smiles and shakes my hand. For what it's worth, Kim, you have a great nose for this type of business, and I'm so glad you agreed to help me. He smiles at me. You are my cousin, Jared. Of course, I would help you. He winks at me and leaves the room so that I can finish putting my documentation together. Then I head towards the lead detective to hand over my findings. I'm glad that I have booked a week of rest and exploration in the city. It's not too often that I can hang around in Toronto and not have to work. As I finally leave the building, I stop and take a deep breath of Toronto air before heading to the hotel for a nice hot shower and possibly a little nap before going out tonight with my cousin and his beautiful wife. Who told you to behave? That's a joke. Aureus Slurpee. Did you not know that? Oh my gosh, you're so funny. All right, chapter one, Brent. I'm sitting in the owner's box at Allen A. Lampert Stadium as my team takes the pitch against our rivals. This is a playoff game, and I have a feeling that it will be a bloodbath. Brent Van Ashton, how the hell are you? The owner of the Toronto team comes in with his latest flavor of the week. On any other day, she would be my type. I would have taken her into the bathroom in this box, fucked her five ways from Sunday, and let Trenton have the rest, which normally isn't a lot. Trenton, how are you? The woman runs her. Oh, Trenton, how are you? The woman runs her hand across my chest, and her hands start toward my belt. This is This is cricket. She bites her lip and looks up at me, a smile in her dull green eyes. Something's not right. I think I read it in the wrong voice. I see if I get my voices mixed up, y'all, I go crazy. All right, let's start again. I'm sitting in the owner's box at Allen A. Lafrance Stadium as my team takes the pitch against our rivals. This is a playoff game, and I have a feeling that it will be a bloodbath. Brent Van Ashton, how the hell are you? The owner of the Toronto team comes in with his latest flavor of the week. On any given day, she would be my type. I would have taken her into the bathroom in this box, fucked her 5 ways from Sunday, and let Trenton have the rest, which normally isn't a lot. Trenton, how are you? The woman runs her hand across my chest, and her hands start toward my belt. This is this is cricket. She bites her lip and looks up at me, a sparkle in her dull green eyes. I'm ready. I'm ready for the fun, she states, but she has such a high pitch. Oh, I'm. I don't know if I can even sound that high. I'm ready for the fun, she states, but she has such a high pitch in her voice that it sounds like she chirped. On any other day, I would have you bent over the sink with my cock buried in your ass. But after the last chick Trenton shared, I vowed to hold off until I could find a woman that was only for me. And my dear, you are not it. I turn to Trenton as Cricket starts to pout. What happened with the last chick? Trenton asks, then quickly turns to look at Cricket. Go pout in the corner. It's unbecoming of you. He brushes off her hand and nods toward the bar in the corner. Dude, the last chick spent a month calling my secretary and demanding that I had married her when she was my wife. I finally had to send my private eye over and warn her away. My advisors have told me that I need to stop with my whoring ways and focus on the team and my business. The bartender hands me a shot of rum. I slam it back and tap the glass on the bar as a way to ask for more. What do you think? He nods at the glass. It's like sweet Christmas in your mouth. What brand is it? It's my own. I'm testing flavors. That one is called Sugar Plum. It's a mixture of orange peels, cranberry, cinnamon sticks, nutmeg with a molasses base. That one you just tried has been aged for 5 years. It's been an extremely long process, but we're finally at the point where we're finally at the part where some places contest the rum, and one of the places I choose was the stadium. Another shot is placed in front of me as the whistle blows to start the game. I sit and watch the scrum part as my team's players call for help. They have formed a circle around the player on the field. Trenton's team is all standing in line with their heads down and their hands behind their backs, all except for two. Those two are being led off the pitch by the police in the stadium. Well, shit. What the fuck just happened, Trenton? I growl, leaning forward and placing my elbows on my knees. I turn my head toward him. Brent, his mouth hangs open and his eyes glued to the mess on the field. Trenton, please tell me that two of your players didn't just take this game past competition and into assault. I stare at him as he gags and looks over to me, fear written across his face. Brent, that wasn't. I don't think. Shit, this looks so fucking bad. I turn my face back to the field as the crowd starts chanting, King, King, King. When the stretcher pops up in the circle and the medical staff sprint toward the exit at the far end of the stadium where an ambulance is already waiting with its doors wide open and lights flashing. I sit still. This can't be happening. King's wife would have been watching this with the other wives in our clubhouse. The horror she must be feeling right now. I take the phone out of the inside of my jacket pocket and place my thumb on the fingerprint sensor, just as she phones me. Hey, I don't know anything right now. I'm on my way down to the entrance. I will let you know as soon as I get to the hospital. Stay strong, okay? I promise I will get an update to you. She quickly hangs up the phone as I reach the door to the suite. Here, let me drive you to the hospital. I nod and leave, knowing he will follow. Here, let me drive you to the hospital. I nod and leave, knowing he will follow behind me. I get to the opening just as the ambulance flips on the siren and speeds out. My team was all standing at the opening. Win this one for King. That is all I say. Oh, win this one for King. That is all I say before a roar comes from all team members, and they storm the pitch on a mission to bring home the championship. We are fucked. We are fucked. I nod. Let me get you to the hospital. Make sure you phone the hotel and extend your stay. I will pay anything that comes up. I would like to take you out tonight after you deal with the hospital. We can go to Roca, have a drink, and watch the female population grind on each other. I chuckle but agree and pick up my phone to make the extended call to the hotel we are staying in. Pulling into the parking lot, Trenton parks and climbs out. Together we head into the hospital and to the emergency room. Yes, Trace King. I'm looking for Trace King. I state to the nurse at the desk. She spins in her chair, raises her eyebrow, then nods and types in his name. Who are you? She snaps. My name is Brent Van Ashton. I own the St. John's Knights, the team that Trace King plays for. I'm on his in case of an emergency contact. She nods and then proceeds to tell me to wait in the waiting area, and a doctor will be with me shortly. I turn and look over my shoulder at the area filled with ailing people and cringe. I've never been one to shy away from germs, but I know that in the next 2 weeks, my immune system is going to kick me in the junk and knock me down. Let's go to the cafeteria and get a coffee and something to eat before we come back and find a seat with not many people around, Trenton says with the same look on his face that I have on mine. We head for a coffee and something to eat, my mind on Trace and what kind of damage he has sustained. Chapter 2, Kimberlea. Humming along to the radio station on my phone as I spin around the room has me relaxing after the nice hot bath that I took. It's not like I have anywhere else to be. I have about 3 hours until I'm supposed to meet with my cousin and his wife. For this trip, I decided to allow the company to pay for a higher-end hotel in the heart of Toronto. Delta Hotels by Marriott Toronto is within walking distance to the CN Tower, Rogers Centre, Ripley's Aquarium, Scotiabank Arena, and the Delta, and has an amazing view of the harbor front. My room has the perfect place to sit and watch the ships coming and going from the docks. I stand and stare at the calm waters and think back over the last few weeks and what I went through for a company that wasn't even mine. Dealing with the CEO and the CFO was like pulling teeth. It almost makes me think that they knew what was happening or had an idea of what or who was involved. Their reactions were overt. Looking down at my watch, I decided that I was going to treat myself to a shopping trip and head down to the Eaton Square or Eaton Center. Grabbing my purse off the chair and making sure I have the card to get back in. Is it Eton or Eaton? Because we have one of both around here. Grabbing my purse off the chair and making sure I have the card to get back into my room, I open the door and head out of the elevator. Jared, we will meet. We'll meet you at the club at 8 tonight. We have dinner in the front and head to the back to dance the night away, or at least dance until I get tired and cranky. Jared's message makes me chuckle, and before I shoot him a message back, my phone alerts me to breaking news. Rugby star Trace King is in critical condition after an on-the-field altercation at the start of the second half during a scrum. No update on condition or what is happening with the remainder of the game. Damn, I hope that man is okay. Nothing like playing the game you love and getting so severely injured they aren't even sure if you're still alive. I grumble as the door slides open and an elderly couple walks out smiling. Have a great day, the elderly gentleman states and places his hand on the back of his wife, guiding her in the opposite direction of my room. I always get jealous of couples waiting to be the center of one person's world, but they always get chased away because I own my own business. No woman of mine is going to work. You will be my housewife and make sure I'm happy, the last man I was seeing announced. This to a restaurant full of people as I paid the check. He got pissed when I smiled brightly at him and told the same people that he just did that he was welcome to his opinion, but my job just paid for his food. He stormed out of the restaurant and left me at the side of the road as he drove off, stating that any woman who had a job was the reason men suffered and stayed single. I shook my head and called an Uber for a ride home. That was the last time I dated anyone. I opted for stock in batteries and a sex toy business. Nothing like being able to say which one you prefer than by having experience with it. Oh, that reminds me, y'all. I got to tell you this. So it's been about an hour and a half ago. Big Daddy and I are sitting there on the couch watching TV. All of a sudden, I heard this racket coming out of our bedroom, which is right off the living room. Okay, so I hear this racket. I'm like, what the crap? And I go in there and it's coming from my toy drawer. I'm like, oh shit. So I open up the drawer and my little Hummer Bob, you know, the ones that all you girls have, my little Hummer Bob was going off by itself. Nobody around, I washed it the last time I used it, so it was clean in the drawer. I don't know what the deal was, but it decided it was going off. And I couldn't get it to turn off to start with. I never got it to turn off. And Big Daddy's like, what is it? And so I'm holding it in there trying to get it to turn. I showed him, and he says, oh, it's just because it ain't getting no use. It needs to be used. Okay, I just thought you guys might like that. It's kind of funny. Okay. You may recognize the song that's on. I spent the last hour wandering the Eton Center. For the most part, I window shopped, looking for all the high-end stores like Coach, Hollister, Hudson's Bay, and Nordstrom. They are the ones that I spend the most time in and the most money. But who can pass? What just happened? Now my eyes are going to start itching now. Okay. I spent the last hour wandering the Eton Center. For the most part, I window shop looking at the high-end stores like Coach, Hollister, Hudson's Bay, and Nordstrom. They are the ones that I spend the most time in and the most money. But who can pass up a chance at a Coach clutch at a hefty discount? Sounds like my sister-in-law. I spent some money at the bagel stop and Purdy's Chocolatier before grabbing a French vanilla cappuccino from the Tim Hortons and heading back to the hotel with my bags in hand. The best thing about being the boss of your own company is your bank account allows you to get what you want. However, I grew up on the poor side, so I'm always frugal with my money. I learned at a young age that you need to make sure your bills were paid, you had food on the table, and gas in your tank. Then, after, you could spoil yourself. Amen to that. Or my eyes. Oh, she missed the story. She's probably babysitting those teen kids again like she was the other night. Um, Now I'm waiting for my Uber to take me back, loaded with my shopping experience, including a backpack that will substitute as my purse and carry on carry on more things. As the Uber pulls up, I watch the young Middle Eastern man with a bright smile on his face. He tells me that he will open my door to get in, and then he closes it and runs around to the driver's side. He hit a button on his phone before taking off toward the hotel. You did a lot of shopping? He speaks, his eyes looking at me through the rearview mirror. I closed a big case today and spoiled myself for all the hard work I've been doing for this company. I smile down at the as I look down at the bags resting on the floor. You're a lawyer? He his eyes quirk up. No, I run a company that gets hired by companies to find wrongdoings in its company. I just finished a case. I say to myself as I giggle. I don't know what it is about Uber drivers, taxi drivers, and bartenders. They always seem to become an on the spot psychologist. Very good, he mumbles as he pulls up in front of the hotel and tells me my fare. Hauling all of my goods to the elevators proves to be tedious, especially when I run over two men walking out. Hey, careful! You can take someone's eye out. Hey, hey, careful! You can take someone's eye out. Trenton barks at the woman who just pushed through us. Listen here, little dick. Most men would have held the fucking door open for a woman. She shouts over her shoulders and heads to the left set of elevators to take her to the top floors. Fuck, dude. What was that for? I ask him, my eyes still firmly in place on her ass. She scuffed my shoes. He leans down, taking a handkerchief from his breast pocket and buffing out the minor scruff on his black Italian loafers. No wonder you're still single. Fuck, you whine more than my 2-year-old nephew who just lost his favorite lollipop, I mumble. These are expensive shoes. He straightens his eyes, watching the women as they walk by him, some looking at him and others ignoring him. Okay there, bud. I grumble before stepping out and claiming the first cab I see that doesn't have a fare. You don't agree with me? She should have looked where she was going, Trenton asked, sliding in beside me and telling the cab driver the address to the distillery district. You have two eyes, man. You could see just as well as I could that she could barely see over the bags, let alone see you standing there. You are so pretentious. I say to the window and listen for a comeback. I watch as the streets and alleys fly by, wondering how King is doing and if the club woman could get his wife a flight out to Toronto. Hey, Brent, I'm sorry about today. I had no idea that my players were planning to do what they did, he whispers so that the driver can't hear. Did you find out why? I understand that rugby is a tough sport and players get injured all the time, but dude, what happened today was no accident. They purposely planned an assault on King. I turn to look at him, not something I want to talk about in the cab. He just nods and turns to look at his side. That's what I thought. The cab comes to a stop and Trenton pays before exiting the vehicle. For tonight, let's let today be a tomorrow problem, he states and waves the host at the front door. I have a feeling that this is going to be more than you bargained for. I mumbled and walked and followed him into the restaurant. To fresh eyes and championships. Trenton raises his glass of single malt scotch in the air and tilts it toward me. You do realize that over the next few months, hell, even a year, your life will be turned upside down, finding out and charging those that were involved in the shitstorm that happened today. I state and stare at him as his eyes widen. You aren't going to pursue that, are you? Trenton places his glass on the table and leans back, his eyes moving around the room till they find someone to focus on. I follow his eyes and notice that he is watching a tall blonde woman slowly moving her hips from side to side on the dance floor. Fuck, man. Focus here for a second before you start thinking with your damn dick. I drop my heavy bottom glass onto the table before pushing my chair back and standing. Where are you going, man? He asks. I shake my head and mumble that I'm heading to the bathroom. I tap the table and start walking toward the front of the restaurant. To get to the bathrooms, you have to pass the entrance, and at this time, it looks full. I start pushing my way through when a woman slams into me. Her hands land on my chest, and her head connects with my chin. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, she says as her head slowly rises and her eyes connect with mine. Her blue eyes are like a beautiful sky on a sunny day. They are captivating. Her nose is cute and her cheeks are full and suit her face perfectly. But when my eyes meet her lips, I become hypnotized by the shape of them. I can't tell if her upper lip is formed in the perfect heart shape or if her lipstick just makes it look that way. It's okay. I was just on my way to the bathroom, but I will gladly hold off if it means you keep standing this close to me. I state as my hands land on her hips to encourage her to stay exactly where she is. I kind of like it here, but if you need to use the washroom, then please don't let me stop you. Her hands tighten on my lapels, showing me that she doesn't want me to move. I lean my head down so my lips are next to her ear. She smells amazing, but I can't pinpoint exactly what her scent is. You put my throat's drawn out. You have been the highlight of my weekend so far. Are you having dinner and then leaving? She shakes her head. Good. Then save me every single dance. Because if I see another man near you, I may lose my mind. Placing a gentle kiss below her ear and turning with her still in my arms before stepping back and walking backward to the washroom, never letting my eyes leave her body and not caring at all if I step on anyone. They need to pay attention because right now I just discovered the woman of my dreams and I plan on imprinting her image into my brain. Miss Shirley never did show up. I wonder if she's got power. That storm hit her tonight. She may not have power. Chapter 4. This will be the last chapter. Kimberlea. Who the hell was that? Jared asked, shaking me from my stare with a man that I can picture naked and taking me 7 ways from Sunday on every flat surface. I have no clue, but holy fuck is that man sexy as hell. I mumble, my teeth biting into my bottom lip. Earth to Kimberlea. A hand waves in front of my face, bringing me back from my haze of gorgeous man. Sorry, wow, he's gorgeous. I can still feel his hands on my body. I moan a little as Jared chuckles. Let's go get our table. You are about to melt into a pile of goo. He directs me to the right side of the restaurant in a booth that is fit for 6 people. Welcome to the Distillery District. My name is Channa, and I am your waitress for this evening. Here are our menus. Would you like to hear the specials tonight? Our waitress asked. I'd like a glass of steam whistle pilsner before dinner. For my entree, I'd like a medium well steak with fried mushrooms and onions and a side salad with house dressing on the side. Can I have a glass of any Skillion Riesling ice wine with my meal? The woman's eyes go wide as she begins to frantically write down what I just said. Oh, I thought that was Jared saying it. I'd like a glass of steam whistle Pilsner before dinner. My entree, I'd like a medium well steak with fried mushrooms and onions and a side salad with house dressing on the side. Can I please have a glass of any Skillion Riesling ice wine with my meal? The woman's eyes go wide as she begins to frantically write down what I just said. Jared smiles as she turns to look at him, and he places his order that is similar to mine, but he changes the salad for a loaded baked potato. I'd like the same as her, but instead of the steam whistle to start, can I please have an Alexander Keith's IPA? Karina smiles as the waitress turns and heads back toward the bar. Kimberly, Karina and I have some news to share, and you will be the only one in the family that we tell. Jared smiles. I know that they have a rocky relationship with everyone else in our family. I'm all ears, cousin. Lay it on me. I smile as the person walks, and the same scent that had invaded my mind with the man hits me, causing me to turn my head and search for the person it belongs to. Easy there, killer. You just whipped around like I do when I smell cake, Karina giggles. I honestly can't get the interaction with that man out of my head. He gave me a sense of home when I was in his arms. I say and watch as Jared slowly smiles. The waitress arrives with our beers, and we slip into easy conversation, forgetting that Karina and Jared were supposed to tell me something. Cousin, don't think I don't recognize that you didn't tell me. Oh, cousin, don't think I didn't recognize that you didn't tell me your news. Let me hear it, I whisper as I look around for the waitress. Karina and I are adopting a little girl from Thailand. We travel there in the new year and bring her home. We want you to be with us when we tell the family. Jared rushed out. Oh, Jared, I'm so damn happy for you too. I will be with you every single step of the way. You give me the time and the dates, and I will make sure I am the one picking you up from the airport and welcoming you guys home. I smile as I reach across the table and grasp his hand. If you will excuse me, ladies, I need to use the washroom before we head to the club. Jared excuses himself, leaving me and Karina chit-chatting. Jared tells me you handed the CFO of his company his balls today. She smiled. Girl, you have no idea. I was in the middle of telling him my findings, bringing everyone onto the same page, when he had the audacity to make a comment about me being a woman and because of and only needed because of my assets. I made sure that he knew just how much he needed to pay attention to the words I was saying. I chuckled, remembering the pain on his face when I stood on his Italian loafer. How did you do it? How do you do it? How do you keep controlling a male-dominated business? I often get asked this question by businesswomen. Running my own company is a business that is usually male dominated has seen me on both ends of the spectrum. I've had the utmost respect for the business I was working to help, to so much disrespect that I ended up charging them double for the ignorance. That's how I made my name. I did it my way. Honestly, Karina, it took me a while for the men to finally see me as a businesswoman. I still have men that think I belong in the kitchen making a sandwich. She smiles and looks over my shoulder, and her eyes get wide. Kimberly. Kimberly, I'd like to introduce you to Brent Van Ashton. I look over my shoulder and into the eyes of the man that held me like. Okay. I look over the shoulder and into the eyes of the man that held me like I wish I was his for a brief second. Kimberly, such a beautiful name for a gorgeous woman. He offers me his hand. I slide mine in his, and it is like an electrical current has flown through my body. I never believed in love at first sight, but this man has set my heart and mind into overdrive. Without letting go of my hand, she slides in beside me and gets as close as he slides in beside me and gets as close as he can. What cologne do you wear? I blurt and slap my hand over my mouth. It's called True North Strong and Free. Smells like a Canadian to me by Walton Wood Farm. He smiles at me, his eyes slowly taking in all the features of my face. He licks his lip before letting go of my hand and placing his arm behind me on the booth. Alright, that's it. So apparently I'm butchering it like crazy tonight. Plus, that gets you through 5 chapters. And there's 17 chapters in an epilogue. So that gets you to a third of the way through, which is good. It's a good book. And where's the other one? Now then, tomorrow night, we're going to be reading Tomorrow by JA Lafrance. And I've already read through to chapter 13. So I will be better off with this, but it's a good book. It's a motorcycle gang book, but it takes place. Did I just really say that? A motorcycle club book, but it takes place in Michigan, and the main female character is Hawaiian. So I have a lot of Hawaiianese. Is that how they say it? To speak tomorrow night. So, all right, everybody. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Vincey, you take care, darling. And I will talk to you later. Happy reading.